55 Interesting Facts About the U.S. Economy in 2012. How is the U.S. economy doing in 2012? Unfortunately, it is not doing nearly as well as the mainstream media would have you believe. Yes, things have stabilized for the moment, but this bubble of false hope will not last for long. The long-term trends that are ripping our economy and our financial system to shreds continue unabated. When you step back and look at the broader picture, it is hard to deny that we are in really bad shape and that things are rapidly getting worse. Later on in this article you will find a list of interesting facts that show the true state of the U.S. economy. Hopefully many of you will find this list to be a useful tool that you can share with your family and friends. Each day the foundations of our economy crumble a little bit more, and we need to wake up as many Americans as we can to what is really going on while there is still time. We have accumulated way too much debt. We consume far more wealth than we produce. Millions of our jobs are being shipped overseas. Our big cities are decaying. Family budgets are being squeezed more than ever. Poverty is rampant, and we have raised several generations of Americans that expect the government to fix all of their problems. The U.S. economy is at a crossroads, and the decisions that the American people make in 2012 are going to be incredibly important. The statistics listed below are presented without much commentary. They pretty much speak for themselves. After reading this list, it will be hard for anyone to argue that we are on the right track. The following are 55 interesting facts about the U.S. economy in 2012. Number 1. As you read this, there are more than 6 million mortgages in the United States that are overdue. Number 2. In January, U.S. home prices were the lowest that they have been in more than a decade. Number 3. In Florida right now, some drivers are paying nearly $6 for a gallon of gas. Number 4. On average, you could buy about 10 gallons of gas for an hour of work back in the mid-90s. Today, the average hour of work will get you less than 6 gallons of gas. Number 5. Sadly, 43% of all American families spend more than they earn each year. Number 6. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate was at 8.3% in mid-January but rose to 9.0% in mid-February. Number 7. The percentage of working-age Americans that have jobs is not increasing. The employment-to-population ratio has stayed very steady, hovering between 58% and 59% since the beginning of 2010. Number 8. If you gathered together all of the workers that are officially unemployed in the United States into one nation, they would constitute the 68th largest country in the entire world. Number 9. When Barack Obama first took office, the number of long-term unemployed workers in the United States was approximately 2.6 million. Today, that number is sitting at 5.6 million. Number 10. The average duration of unemployment in the United States is hovering close to an all-time record high. Number 11. According to Reuters, approximately 23.7 million American workers are either unemployed or underemployed right now. Number 12. There are about 88 million working-age Americans that are not employed and that are not looking for employment. That is an all-time record high. Number 13. According to Career Builder, only 23% of American companies plan to hire more employees in 2012. Number 14. Back in the year 2000, about 20% of all jobs in America were manufacturing jobs. Today, about 5% of all jobs in America are manufacturing jobs. Number 15. The United States has lost an average of approximately 50,000 manufacturing jobs a month since China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001. Number 16. Amazingly, more than 56,000 manufacturing facilities in the United States have been shut down since 2001. Number 17. According to author Paul Osterman, About 20% of all U.S. adults are currently working jobs that pay poverty-level wages. Number 18. During the Obama administration, worker health insurance costs have risen by 23%. Number 19. An all-time record 49.9 million Americans do not have any health insurance at all at this point, and the percentage of Americans covered by employer-based health plans has fallen for 11 years in a row. Number 20. According to the New York Times, approximately 100 million Americans are either living in poverty or in the fretful zone just above it. Number 21. In the United States today, corporate profits are at an all-time high. The percentage of Americans that are living in extreme poverty is also at an all-time high according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Number 22. In the United States today, the wealthiest 1% of all Americans have a greater net worth than the bottom 90% combined. Number 23. The poorest 50% of all Americans now collectively own just 2.5% of all the wealth in the United States. Number 24. The number of children living in poverty in the state of California has increased by 30% since 2007. Number 25. According to the National Center for Children in Poverty, 36.4% of all children that live in Philadelphia are living in poverty. 40.1% of all children that live in Atlanta are living in poverty. 52.6% of all children that live in Cleveland are living in poverty, and 53.6% of all children that live in Detroit are living in poverty. Number 26. Since Barack Obama entered the White House, the number of Americans on food stamps has increased from 32 million to 46 million. Number 27. As the economy has slowed down, so has the number of marriages. According to a Pew Research Center analysis, only 51% of all Americans that are at least 18 years old are currently married. Back in 1960, 72% of all U.S. adults were married. Number 28. In 1984, the median net worth of households led by someone 65 or older was 10 times larger than the median net worth of households led by someone 35 or younger. Today, the median net worth of households led by someone 65 or older is 47 times larger than the median net worth of households led by someone 35 or younger. Number 29. If you can believe it, 37% of all U.S. households that are led by someone under the age of 35 have a net worth of 0 or less than 0. Number 30. After adjusting for inflation, U.S. college students are borrowing about twice as much money as they did a decade ago. Number 31. According to the Student Loan Debt Clock, total student loan debt in the United States will surpass the $1 trillion mark at some point in 2012. If you went out right now and starting spending $1 every single second, it would take you more than 31,000 years to spend $1 trillion. Number 32. Today, 46% of all Americans carry a credit card balance from month to month. Number 33. Incredibly, 1 out of every 7 Americans has at least 10 credit cards. Number 34. The average interest rate on a credit card that is carrying a balance is now up to 13.10%. Number 35. Of the U.S. households that do have credit card debt, the average amount of credit card debt is an astounding $15,799. Number 36. Overall, Americans are carrying a grand total of $798 billion in credit card debt. If you were alive when Jesus was born and you spent $1 million every single day since then, you still would not have spent $798 billion by now. Number 37. It may be hard to believe, but the truth is that consumer debt in America has increased by a whopping 1,700% since 1971. 38. At this point, about 70% of all auto purchases in the United States involve an auto loan. Number 39. In the United States today, 45% of all auto loans are made to subprime borrowers. Number 40. Mortgage debt as a percentage of GDP has more than tripled since 1955. Number 41. According to a recent study conducted by the BlackRock Investment Institute, the ratio of household debt to personal income in the United States is now 154%. Number 42. To get the same purchasing power that you got out of $20 back in 1970, you would have to have more than $116 today. Number 43. When Barack Obama first took office, an ounce of gold was going for about $850. Today an ounce of gold costs more than $1,700 an ounce. Number 44. The number of Americans that are not paying federal income taxes is at an all-time high. Number 45. A staggering 48.5% of all Americans live in a household that receives some form of government benefits. Back in 1983, that number was below 30%. Number 46. The amount of money that the federal government gives directly to Americans has increased by 32% since Barack Obama entered the White House. Number 47. During 2012, the U.S. government must roll over nearly $3 trillion of old debt. Number 48. The U.S. debt to GDP ratio has now reached 101%. Number 49. At the moment, the U.S. national debt is sitting at a grand total of $15,419,800,222,325.15. Number 50. The U.S. national debt is now more than 22 times larger than it was when Jimmy Carter became president. Number 51. During the Obama administration, the U.S. government has accumulated more debt than it did from the time that George Washington took office to the time that Bill Clinton took office. Number 52. If the federal government began right at this moment to repay the U.S. national debt at a rate of $1 per second, it would take over 440,000 years to pay off the national debt. Number 53. If Bill Gates gave every single penny of his fortune to the U.S. government, it would only cover the U.S. budget deficit for about 15 days. Number 54. Right now, the U.S. national debt is increasing by about $150 million every single hour. Number 55. Spending by the federal government accounted for about 2% of GDP back in 1800. It accounted for 23.8% in 2011, and according to former U.S. Comptroller General David M. Walker, it will account for 36.8% of GDP by 2040. Bad news, eh? But it isn't just our economy that is decaying. We are witnessing a tremendous amount of social decay as well. As I wrote about the other day, America is rapidly decomposing right in front of our eyes. When the water level of a river drops far enough, it will reveal rocks that have been hidden from view for a very long time. Well, a similar thing is happening in America right now. For decades, our debt-fueled prosperity has masked a lot of the social decay that has been going on. But now that our prosperity is evaporating, a lot of frightening stuff is being revealed. Unfortunately, another major financial crisis is rapidly approaching, and economic conditions in the United States are going to get a lot worse. So what is our country going to look like when that happens? That is a very good question.